All right, so it's very late at night for me. It's 2 a.m. But I wanted to talk to a new guest. He has done a bunch of Rammstein videos and other stuff. I looked at your site. You cover other topics, but a lot of Rammstein videos. And you know what? I saw your videos 2 months ago, whenever this scandal was first breaking. And what I've been thinking the whole time is because I don't speak German, and so I couldn't understand the videos, but I see how many views you get. And I'm like, that guy gets more views than I do for his Rammstein stuff. So I was really happy that you'd come on the show. So I'm curious because there are two stories that are really big right now related to Rammstein. So one is the Berlin concerts and the quote unquote protests that have been taking place
Hmm.
there, and then also the newest allegations against Flake. So let's start with the protests because you were there. You were at the concert in Berlin on what, Saturday night?
Yeah, the first one in Berlin.
Okay,
I think it was Saturday night. Yes, yes.
and that was where the biggest protest
Hmm. Oh
took
well.
place.
Yeah, I was in shock. I was scared. So I was literally laughing because the media beforehand really pushed it up and said, yeah, there were those big protests and I mean they talk about 300 people. You can see it on the video. I think it's barely 100. It was just like
Yeah.
like some people.
It
It
looks
was
small on the video.
super small, super small. It was really I don't know. It was nothing. And you must and Berlin is like the head capital of leftism, of feminists, of
Is
left
that right?
radical. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's like the cesspool of everything left and left leaning, radical left. They have like
Right, right.
whole streets that they control, and even they couldn't manage to get more people than that. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
It looked really sad. Some of the ridiculous stuff that they're doing, like constructing the mock grave for Till Lindemann. Like,
I mean, it's the same bullshit. Basically, Germany hangs on the titties of the US, so all the same talking points and feminists. So, like the feminists, like they do like copy and paste American feminist politics bullshit. They even use the same words. It's embarrassing. Then the cultural appropriation wasn't a thing like 2 years ago, and suddenly they do this big thing. You can't dress as a native Indian anymore in kindergarten. It's all the same talking points. It's pathetic.
yeah, it is interesting how much of these American ideologies are drifting over to Europe. Okay, so you were there, and there was like 100 people protesting, perhaps.
At max, I would say at max. And the media all talk about 300 and more, or they talk about hundreds of protesters. So they really, and always the headline is about the protest. It's insane, because it was nothing, but still they push this agenda and they always talk about the protesters and hundreds of protesters.
Well, yeah, it really has felt like the media are really trying to push this as much as they can, even though there's not really anything here. And that kind of leads us into the Flake allegations.
Hmm.
So without me, I want to throw it to you because I obviously have opinions as well. But what do you think about these latest allegations?
Well, they're even more laughable than the allegations before. And Flake is considered. I get a lot of info from Rammstein fans because I wasn't really much into Rammstein before this. So, like, Flake is more like this shy, really introvert guy with big anxiety issues. I heard that he wasn't flying for the first years and going with a ship to US to play. So, I mean, and still it's the same thing that makes really boils me up is because they take all agency from women. I mean, so the first story is like the 17-year ago old girl who lies to the members and says she's 22. They go to the house of Till or Flake. They drink. She gets alcohol. Then she lies in her bed. She's a little bit drunk. Flake lies next to her in the bed. She says she turns to him around and they have sex. And now this is a trauma. She doesn't say no. She doesn't resist. And now, and she says she has psychological issues about this, and 20 years later, she's still in therapy about this issue. I don't know. I don't
That
know
was
what's up with this youth. I mean, drunk sex, bad sex. I think this is a part of life for men and women. And I mean, if this is like the benchmark, everybody has a rape story in his life.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I was talking about this earlier on a live stream, this because this question comes up of is it assault or is it bad sex? And of course, I don't even believe necessarily what this woman is saying, right? But just taking the story at face value, what she describes. And my perspective also is that bad sex is in a different category than assault, and it is part of life. And people say, it's like this new generation now, they think, oh, that's just because you're back in your day it was so patriarchal, and it's like, no, it's because we had a different understanding of sex perhaps than you have, which is that it can't be like, it can't be sort of bureaucratically, hyper anxiously modulated, like it just
No,
can't
no,
be.
it's so stupid. I mean, it's like a new Puritan time right now where everything needs to be super discussed and like a contract written out
Mm.
beforehand. And if you're drunk a little bit, if you're under the influence of something, then it's suddenly rape. I mean, 80% of sex wouldn't happen if that's the benchmark.
No,
I
it's
mean,
true,
that's
it's
why
true.
people go out to clubs. That's why they go to festivals, you know. Most people need a little bit of alcohol in their system to get out of their head and just enjoy themselves and have casual sex, you know. And then I'm not like I'm 14 years in a relationship. It's not my cup of tea,
No, I know what you're
but
saying.
yeah. So, but I mean, why? It's youth. Why not? If they want to live, do it, then do it. It's unbelievable how we like regress in a Puritan age, and the push comes from the left. That's so
Right.
funny about it.
No, it is. It is absolutely. And I've talked before on my channel about how I grew up in a very fundamentalist, Southern Baptist, East Texas Christian environment, and I felt like one of the things that I disliked about it, and there were some things that were actually good, but one of the things I disliked was that it seemed very puritanical and sexually repressive. And so I went to grad school and became a professor, for a while, college lecturer. And it was so crazy to see that one of the things that I thought I was getting away from, it's basically like the story of Oedipus, right? Like he runs away from it, but he ends up running toward it. One of the things that I thought I was getting away from, I actually went into a place where from which this new Puritanism would come, right? Which is like leftist institutions, academia and stuff.
Mhm.
And I know that there are a lot of Rammstein fans, or a number of Rammstein fans, that do not like it when you and I talk about the left versus right thing, and they don't like our what they perceive as our political perspective. And I think that people misunderstand. I don't know much about your show, no offense, but like for me, it's not about trying to make the leftist feel bad. I'm just trying to say, like, you've got a problem here, and it is, in this instance, it is coming from a particular group of extreme woke, radical, whatever word you
Yes.
want to use. Like, we have to identify where this is coming from, right?
I
Just like
mean,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, some Rammstein fans are waking up to this because Rammstein is a left band. That's a funny thing because it's often considered right, but they are from a punk background and they are more like a left-leaning band. They were on stage with the LGBTQ flag and they kissed on stage in Russia to make a point.
Mm,
So two men. So, but and I got a lot of shit with recently because I was there and there's a cameraman and he was from more like a right wing media outlet. But they were the only ones who wanted to support me and get a
mm,
cameraman and make the interviews. And it's the first and only um, piece in whole Germany from a media outlet that's not super critical about Rammstein. So now the left media is like insane and say, "Oh, right wing ideology influence the stuff." And
right.
I mean, I have to give them really credit because their audience doesn't like Rammstein very much, and even the people, because they are more conservative. They're not big into sex, drugs, and rock and roll and necrophilia imagery and what Rammstein is doing. But still, they have like the most based article about this stuff, and they were giving me the platform to let me speak. And none of left media did it. I'm even translated 3 of your videos with the cop, with the
Thank
witnesses, and none to this day even reacted to this. None.
you.
And I had people from my audience who wrote to media and said, "Are you aware of this counter witnesses? Will you do an excerpt on that?" And they got the normal bullshit answer like, "Yeah, we have got you. Thank you for your feedback and blah, blah, blah. We will consider in the future." Nothing. Silence of the lambs. And so you see, it's really
Yeah.
there must be something behind this, something evil, sinister. I can't believe it that they are not even mention it. Even critical say, "Yeah, we can't verify this witnesses. It's an American channel, blah blah blah." No, nothing.
Well, it is it is really amazing, and I just think people don't understand. Some people who are so critical of us do not understand that there are so few outlets. There are really no mainstream media outlets that are interested in a counter narrative, in the truth or another perspective. And not to go down this road, but like I've seen that even in the Marilyn Manson situation, which you may not know much about, but if you look into it, there's a lot of problematic aspects to that. But there were people that I interviewed for my channel about the Manson situation who had a counter narrative and good things to say about him, bad things to say about the accuser. They said, "We tried to talk to other news outlets and nobody was interested." And so it is true that just right now, the mainstream media, which is more left than right, much more so, it is not interested in the counter narrative on this.
Yeah. I said it. I challenged them. I said, "Yeah, don't give me shit for talking on Compact. I come to you any minute. I talk with everybody. I would even give an interview for Antifa. I don't care. I'm not political in that department. But if you don't want to talk with me, don't give me shit for talking on that show that invites me and wants to hear my opinion.
Right.
What's that about?
Right. I totally agree. Do you feel like, well, let me ask you. So, how did you get into this? Where you said you weren't much of a Rammstein fan. You probably like me. Like I went to a show and I had a friend. My friend got me into the parties, and so that was an awesome experience. But I really didn't know a lot about the guys or the music. How did you get into this story?
So I'm a men's coach for 20 years. So I was starting out as a dating pickup coach 20 years ago, and teaching men how to be more successful with women.
So I just have to ask. No, I just have to ask, since you brought this up. I did see on your YouTube, I saw the Casanova thing, and I have to ask: are you going to tell me that you love me and then get me to move to Germany and have me produce web porn? Is that where this conversation is going to end up?
No, no.
Because I want to know now. I want to know now.
I'm a retired Casanova. Like I said, I'm a 40 years relationship. Now I teach only guys. I have a great team of younger men who go out to clubs with guys, helping them to talk to women. Germans are much more introvert. I have been to the US many times, and I loved it because everybody is so chatty and so upbeat.
Yeah, we
and
talk
Germany,
a lot.
in Germany, it's all like, "Yeah, I'm down to my business. Don't talk to strangers." They're very friendly if you approach them, but mostly don't talk to strangers. Get your groceries and stuff. Yeah, you can get hello is even. Oh wow, what's
it's
happening
harder
here?
it's harder to hook up, or it's harder to get dates in that kind of a situation than, I guess you're saying, that
Totally,
context.
totally. Yeah. And then there's a whole thing, and then I got into this rabbit hole because I thought, why is it? Why is German man? Why are they so shy and everything? And then it got political because I thought, oh, there's like a push against everything masculine, everything aggressive, even in a good way,
Uh-huh.
And I thought, oh, there's a deeper thing. Saw the political side of it. made a lot of videos beforehand about Me Too cases, men's rights issues. So it's like a mix of dating advice, but now it's more like a political commentary channel. And as I saw the Rammstein case, I thought I wouldn't know that I end up doing like daily videos now. And I thought, okay, this is like this one article, and I have to say something about it because it sounds fishy. But then more and more came up, and it's also like a big chance for us men's rights activists, because suddenly a lot of women, because Rammstein has a lot of women audience, they're
Mhm.
waking up to the shit. You know, my channel is totally demonetized from YouTube,
I
and
did
I'm
not know that, I'm sorry.
yeah, totally. So I don't earn cent right now. I'm paying on top of that, and because I'm like a misogynist and women
Yeah.
hater, because I criticize women behavior on my channel, and there's like some American community said, "Don't break the 11th Amendment. Never criticize women. That's the 11th Amendment." Yeah, that's not in the Bible, but should be.
At
So
YouTube.
and
At YouTube
yeah,
it is.
yes. So,
No.
and I say there's bad and demonic sides in both genders, in men and in women. And men have more like the direct aggression,
Overt,
overt
yes.
aggression, and women have the indirect aggression.
So you went to the concert in Berlin the other day, and you saw a lot of people, talked to a lot of people outside of the protesters, besides the small group of protesters.
Yeah.
What's the general sentiment, do you feel like, among German people about what's going on with Rammstein and the media and everything?
I mean, we especially seeked out a lot of women to get some insights from them. And the funny thing is, like you said, all women know. Uh, they were saying things. If I would say the same things, I would call it a sexist and everything. And they said, look, women knew exactly what they do if they dress a certain way. I got so much shit for this when I said, look at Kayla Shyx' Instagram. This is softcore porn, you know, licking the lollipop and everything, like blowjob
Hand on
themes,
the
and yeah, hand on the breast, and then in her video she wears her Adidas and it's not made up, and so she's so manipulative. So, and women know that, and they said women know exactly what they do. I have experienced the row zero girls, so it's unbelievable. So just ask women, then you will get to the truth and the facts. I am called a misogynist for the exact things the women said me at the Rammstein concert. I mean, obviously they were fans, so they were more leaning on the sides, but they all said, okay, if this is like really coming out that he raped women, yeah, used KO, because it's always gets mixed up in the
I
media
know.
and all thing. I mean, there's this one side having groupies. You can find this morally, yeah, not good,
Right,
but
right,
that's not forbidden. So,
right,
and then there's the other side using drugs to drug women and rape them. Always gets mixed together and put
right.
into one basket that it doesn't belong to. So, and they say if this is happening, then yeah, then it would be a bad thing, and he should be punished for it. But they don't believe it. The women always said, I mean, look at Till Lindemann. Even if he's 60, he's a rock star. There's a lot of women who would like to lay with him, and he doesn't need it. And this is also like my point. Why should you go into the risk? I had also like talked with a drug expert about this KO. You need to really know the size of somebody and the weight to really dose it exactly. Even when you mix it with alcohol, it could be quite dangerous. You could die from it. Yeah, if
Wow.
you miscalculate it. So if you take a dose from me and I would give it to you
It's
mixed
not
with
just
alcohol,
something they're gonna be, like, casually, like, all these concerts, these parties, whatever, and they're just dosing people with GHB, yeah.
no, you cannot do this. You cannot do it. Mixed with alcohol, it's super dangerous. If you misdo it, even like a slight bit, I knew if some few friends also do experience with. You do it in drops with a how do you call it? What you inject in your arm normally.
Oh, syringe, yeah, yeah.
Syringe. You
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
with a syringe, so you can see how many milliliter you give. So, and if you give 5 ml too much, you are going from a really great trip into a coma and
Mhm,
could
mhm.
probably die from it. So it's super stupid for the band or to Lindemann or anything to just go around and put it into the drinks of somebody would be highly dangerous. Yeah, it's more a thing that you do with your partner, maybe, or it's a very popular in the gay scene. They use it, but more when they get together in their swinger things and stuff, and then they can really dose it and know
Right.
with who they are working with.
You brought up earlier the fact that you get a lot of criticism when you point out the way that Kayla Chicks was dressing, on Instagram when she went to the concert,
Mm.
and I think people need to understand that when we talk about the way that these women are dressing, we're not saying that because someone dresses a certain way, they are asking to be sexually assaulted. Okay. We don't believe they've been sexually assaulted. What we are saying, though, is that you cannot put out these blatant sexual signals without at least expecting to attract some attention, some mere attention. And so, for instance, Kayla Shyx, her big allegation is not that Till Lindemann touched her or harassed her. In fact, he was never in the room, or that anyone touched her or harassed her. Her big allegation, as you know, is that she was put into a situation, recruited, whatever, for a party because she looked hot, and someone thought maybe Till might want to strike up a conversation, and yeah, maybe even try to solicit her for sex in a normal pickup way. I i and so yeah, you cannot dress like this sexy, sex pot Instagram babe, and you go to a concert and then you're shocked if anyone is looking at you in a sexual way. Like, you just you just can't.
No, it's close are also communication. I mean, they know
Yeah.
this.
It actually hurts women who go through really traumatic, harrowing experiences. I mean, you think about someone who does get actually attacked,
Mhm.
in an alley or whatever, sort of classic, or on a date. Really, someone actually attacks someone and rapes them. That's horrible. And then what you have with Kayla Chicks and these women is this, in the Flake story too, is this cheapening of real trauma so that it just becomes this diluted nothing, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. And I get a lot of, I don't know how is it with you? I get a lot of messages from women, private messages. They say the exact thing and they swear on her. I couldn't read these letters on my stream because they are really, really crass. Yeah, they
yeah,
really
I
insult
bet.
her and said, "You fucking yeah, yeah,"
Right,
because
right, right.
I was raped and you
Mhm.
make like a mockery out of this issue. And because of women like you, people don't believe us. And I know it's with me. I was super. I mean, the natural tendency of a man is to believe all women, to be protective about women. But right now, it's turned to the opposite. If I hear a story like that, the first reaction for me is, let's see about that,
I
you
know,
know?
I know,
And this is
no.
also turning up in society because there's so much bullshit coming up with Amber Hart. We had some German cases. It was the same thing. You can count on it. If it's a popular person, 80-90% of it, it's bullshit.
No, and I agree with you, and by the way, that's not the 80-90%. We're not saying that in normal cases, 80 to 90% of women would be lying. What we're saying is, I think in these big media cases, the
Yeah, yeah,
incentive the
popular persons.
incentives, yeah,
Mhm.
in these celebrity cases, the incentives for lying and misconstructing stuff, they're so high. It's so high, so high. So I wanted to ask you, um, what do you think is going on with the focus on Rammstein, especially? I mean, I know there have been a lot of different Me Too cases in the US and probably in Germany as well. It seems like the people are really zeroing in on this. The
Yeah.
media really are. Do you think something's going on with rock music, or what do you think exactly? How do you interpret it?